program, postgraduate diploma in sustainability science, and it shows your concerns towards the degradation which is taking place and the need which has arisen to move towards sustainability. And this is the right path, I can say, so that you are well acquainted with the different issues related to sustainability, emerging areas in this field, and also what are the strategies and what measures we can take to adopt a kind of a sustainable environment or sustainable development. So students, we are on block 2 of course 1, MSD 011, that is sustainability science. And in this course you are introduced uh, to the concept of, I think it is full from my side. It's full. So in this particular course, you are introduced to the concept of sustainability science as a discipline. What are the different components and how the interlinkages which are there between the most common pillars, for example, economic, society, and environment. So today we will be talking about basic human needs and issues of sustainability in this session, because we know that what are the needs and how all this talk about sustainability and sustainable development is about that our needs are threatened in today's time. So let us talk about the human needs and the issues of sustainability which are prevailing today. So first of all, I would like to draw your attention towards the most common terms that we come across, like needs, wants, desires, demands. What are these? So when I say need, that is the basic need. The need which is essential for us to survive. We need air, water, food, shelter, clothes. These are the needs which are there. And needs are governed by the central nervous system. Our body itself tells, we don't have to think about it. When we are hungry, we need food, that the body will tell you. But on the other hand, if you talk about wants, wants are our desires, a step ahead of the needs. Now, when you say what do you want, what do you desire to be, so they may be abstract wants, they may be concrete wants. I may want to travel to far off places, or I may need a posh bungalow. So that is the want which may be in the terms of abstract, in the terms of concreteness. And another important thing which distinguishes between the needs and the wants is that, as I said, needs are governed and they are controlled by our body's nervous system. But on the other hand, want is something which is pressurized, you can say, in some way or the other by the society, by the models. We need social validation kind of a thing when we want something. In this, you must have experienced in your day-to-day decisions, in your day-to-day life, that what do we want? We want what others want. We want a thing, an article, a particular position if others are having that. So there are different models, there are different, you can say, leaders, there are different situations, circumstances which drive us towards the wants. So they are extrinsically motivated. So in many times it occurs that if even if we want something, we look at others, that whether they also want the same thing. It occurs various times when we make any purchase decisions, or we make any decision particularly related to our jobs, related to our careers. We often seek a kind of a social proof that what others will say regarding this decision of mine. So that is the clear distinction between the needs and the wants. And demands are something for which you can pay. You can demand when the things are already available outside, in markets, in stores, in other areas. You can demand, that means you can pay for it. So these are some of the basic things which we come across with respect to what all do we require and what all do we come across in our you can say in our day-to-day living and all. So beginning with that, there is also very important thing that you must understand, that needs and wants are related to each other. Various times, various uh, instances are there where we can easily distinguish between the need and the want. For example, I need food for survival, but what kind of food do I need? Whether I need something, uh, whether I would like to have pizza, hamburger, or something full diet, that is the want. So needs and wants are related to each other. You understand it in this way, that a person who is asthmatic needs inhaler. A person who is obese needs to exercise. But when he needs to exercise, then whether he would like to swim, jog, walk, cycle, that is the want, which is his decision. So that is, they are related to each other in that way, that need is the first step towards making our well-being, but want is something which is one step ahead, and these are always found to be related to each other. They are dependent upon each other. And basically, if you will see and look around, you will find that most of the needs of the people are uniform. But how do they achieve those needs? How those needs are converted into wants? That is actually determined by the society, by the community, by individual preferences, by availability of consumer goods, and so on and so forth. Similarly, you must also note one of the important things is that with changing times, the needs change. What we need today was not at all required some 20-25 years back. For example, we need internet today. We need smartphones today. We need online mechanism of shopping and transactions and banking, and so many types of things are required today. We need somebody to help us, a kind of an outsourcing for various activities and for various jobs done together. So with changing times, with changing, you can say, advancement in science, technology, medical, and our lifestyle, our needs change. So today you cannot imagine living without internet, without your smartphone, without your better ways of commuting in metro cities. So these are the things which tell us that how a simple thing such as, take the example of working, take the example of commuting, traveling, you will see that how needs have changed. If you look at your home itself, you will find that so many things and so many appliances are there which are your need in the present times. So when the discussion goes on for the another 10, 20, 50 years, you will find that there will be several kinds of new, which may appear to be want today, but they may be need in the times to come. And another important thing in the talk of sustainability, if you say that our wants can be somebody's need. I may like to dine at a five-star restaurant, but the food for a particular poor person may be the need. We may be attracted towards buying so many types of goods, so many types of shoes, so many types of clothes, but for the poor person who is needy, that becomes the need. And when I talk about sustainability, when we discuss the emerging issues in sustainability, it is very important for us also to know that how to balance between the needs and the wants. How do we establish that every person has got basic human needs? And that is the main emphasis of the talk today, that how we can, a kind of a balance can be achieved in meeting the needs and along with also paving the way for sustainability and sustainable development. So here you have the most common figure, Maslow's hierarchy. You must have heard about it, you must have read about it. It was given in 1943 somewhere, and he said that needs are hierarchical. First of all, human beings try to meet the physiological needs of our body, and those physiological needs are food, water, air, some rest. These are the physiological needs that the body needs to survive. Now, in today's context, if we see, the physiological needs also vary depending upon age, depending upon location, depending upon the job that you are doing. So they are also changing with time and scale. It appears to be uniform, it is universal, Physiological needs are required by every human being, but then also you will find that there is a difference in the attainment of physiological needs, and they also vary from one person to another, one place to another. The next stage is of safety needs. You know how important it is to have financial safety, how important it is to have job security. In today's times we have seen that what safety means actually. In initial times, again the point comes here, that how needs change. You know, in the initial times we wanted safety from wild animals, we wanted safety from the extreme weathers, but today we talk about safety against health safety, financial safety, job security, proper shelter. This comes under the safety needs of today. The higher order, then you have the need for belongingness, love needs. In the today's era where we have lost social connection, this social media helps people to, you know, to meet these needs. These are the social needs. We want to be a part of the society. We are a human beings, are a social animal. We are a entity where we like to interact, where we like to talk. So this is a kind of, you know, a kind of a social need, a kind of a need for love, belongingness. So why it is hierarchy? That first of all, a person acquires to meet the physiological needs. When our physiological needs are met, when we are properly fed, we strive to get the safety needs. We want to assure our coming generation, ourselves, for the bad weather days which may come in the future. After having that, if we have, then we, you know, then we aspire to have the kind of a social needs. We want to be, you know, recognized by the society. We want to be the part of the society. We want to mingle with the people. And after social needs have been attained, we want to move towards the esteem needs. We want appreciation. We want a kind of a certification from the people around us. We want recognition for the work we are doing. And in the present day, when you see your Facebook post, your WhatsApp statuses, when people, you know, tell the world about what they are doing, it is a kind of uh, you know, trying to meet the esteem needs. We want recognition, we want appreciation of the work that we have done. That is the esteem needs. And when the esteem needs are met, we aspire towards a self-actualization stage. And this is the stage where people, you know, it is a kind of a self-fulfillment. We have achieved everything. We have gained everything in life. That person is balanced. That person is not affected by failures or successes. That is the final state. So these are the needs. According to Maslow, he said that this is the hierarchy of the needs. However, McSniff, after 50 years, he gave a kind of a different perspective to this. And what he said is that needs are different from the satisfiers. He introduced the term satisfiers because, you know, the needs which he gave was, as it is mentioned here, subsistence, protection, affection, understanding, participation, leisure, creation, identity, and freedom. These are 9 needs according to him. And what he said is that these needs, what is mentioned by Max, they are not based on ethical grounds, they are not based on philosophical psychology grounds, but they seem to be more attainable, and they seem to be work more at the policy and the action level. Okay, so he said that these, there are ways to meet the needs actually. So he gave the concept that there should be, or there is a clear cut demarcation, because needs are universal, needs are non-hierarchical, but on the other hand, satisfiers are a kind of a tool by which we attain those needs, by which we fulfill those needs. So that is more important, because that actually differs from person to person. And therefore, he said that there are 9 categories, as it was mentioned in the previous slide, but there are 4 existential categories, you know, which kind of, you know, they tell us that how you can uh, uh, categorize the needs, the 9 needs which have been given, how that can be categorized. So It is like being, having, doing, and interacting. These are the categories of the needs according to Max. Now just try to understand here is that the first category is being. Being means what are the characteristics of an individual, of a community. That is the state of being. Now, what I see myself, what is the need which makes me to be something, what qualities are desirable, that comes under this category of the need, that an individual has a need of being, you can say. Okay, then the need to have, then in the sense technology is important, institutional arrangements are important, habits will come in the points. What do we have, what do we have as a society, as a country, as a region, as a polity, what all is there, that is actually your having part. Then another status doing in the form of actions, what actually is done, how the needs are met, how the different types of whether it is leisure, whether it is protection, whether it is understanding, how we are going to, what actions are there meant for achieving those needs. And this forms very important actually in terms of sustainability, because meeting one's needs may jeopardize the ability of others to meet their own needs. And that is actually what we have seen when we have discussed about the haphazard development, and also in case where we find that a particular species thriving and also on the cost of the other species, and the most of the issues of the environment that we are facing today because of human intervention is because of doing, that is the action part, which somewhere interferes with it. And another part is interacting, that what kind of settings are there, what kind of, whether it is synergistic, whether it is violating, whether it is singular, what kind of interaction persists in a way of meeting those needs. So these are the two ideas which have been put forward to tell us about the needs. So Maslow's description seemed to be very simple and of course philosophical, which says that how a person moves from having the most physiological needs and then attains the stage of self-actualization, the person who has it all. But then to see actually whether the needs of the people are met or not, it is important to look into some other aspect of the needs which is given by the Max Neef. Now, our well-being, how it is determined by the basic needs. And if I look into the Maslow's hierarchy, we see that the safety needs and the physiological needs are considered to be the basic needs of individuals. How it is related to well-being. Now, the conventional well-being is actually related to economic well-being, physical well-being, social well-being, mental well-being. These are some of the conventional well-being which we discuss and which we talk about. But then what is the difference between wellness and well-being? So wellness is what? Wellness is you can say a choice, a way of living, a lifestyle. It is actually the process by which the well-being is attained. So well-being is a state. Well-being is a state of the health of individual, but wellness actually comes through the process, or you can, in other words, you can tell that the precursor towards well-being is the wellness. Now you understand in this way, when I say that wellness is a process and well-being is a state, for example, wellness is a choice. Choice in the sense whether it is our decision, to remain healthy, to eat healthy, to exercise. So this comes from the choice. So who is determining that? That is actually the wellness part of it. Then wellness is a lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do we have will determine the well-being of the person. So again, here it is pointed out that it is a kind of a process. So you must understand what is the difference between wellness and well-being, and how basic human needs, particularly our food, water, education, medical, all these, how they relate to the you can say healthy state of an individual. And another important point which we must remember when we talk about well-being, that it is a combination of cognitive and emotional domains. What is a cognitive domain? Our ability to conceptualize, our ability to think, our ability to uh, react, to understand, to explain. So well-being of a person enables him to make cognitive decisions, to have a cognitive, you can say, a skill in it. And similarly, emotional domain. So according to some researchers, they have clearly pointed out that well-being of a individual is a combination of the cognitive, features of, and also the social features, and that eventually comprise the well-being of an individual. Now, there are two things in this well-being which we must understand when we talk about sustainability, that there is a term called positive psychology and sustainability. Now, how do, as an individual, how do I ensure well-being for myself? How do I ensure that I am, on the state of well-being where where I have mental, physical, financial, all sorts of, you can say, positive connotations here. One of the aspect in it is positive psychology. Now, what is positive psychology is that it creates a kind of a situation where a person thinks about self, individual well-being, and makes all efforts so as to remain in the state of well-being. Okay, so this is positive psychology, where we maintain relationship, where we have a positive attitude, where we make good decisions, where we have good concentration, where we are in a positive frame of mind. That is the positive psychology which contributes to the well-being. Positive psychology and sustainability both are coins, and both form, you can say, a kind of a cushion for well-being in the long run. If you, in the long run, and for sustainable well-being, if we are talking about, we must look into what is positive psychology and what is sustainability. So as I said, positive psychology means that we are in, a person is in a positive state of mind, where well-being of an individual is maintained through individual efforts, through individual well-being. But on the other hand, sustainability refers to systemic well-being. And when I say systemic well-being, it means taking care of the future state of the affairs, looking into the actions of the state of the communities, and not only as the individuals. Because what actually happens is that there is something which needs our attention here, is that positive psychology or meeting individual well-being may come, as I said, come at the cost of the others, the well-being of the others. It may be detrimental to the state of the environment, and which has happened in many cases, what we have seen. But on the other hand, sustainability ensures that the well-being, which may not be individual based, but it will take into consideration all the members of the community, and all the actions which are for the well-being of an individual will be sustainable in the long run. So these are the two concepts which are related to well-being in the long run. Now, what is sustainability? We have heard about sustainability at various platforms. We discuss about sustainability, and when I say that we are talking about basic needs and sustainability, we know that it is an environmental policy. Actually, it has been defined and it has been interpreted in a number of different ways. But however, the simple, you can say, basic thing about sustainability is that it is not just concerned with economic development, but also social harmony, environmental protection, and also the future of the generations. How will they be able to get all the resources and get the quality of life which is at present. So sustainability is a kind of a policy, it is a kind of a kind of a process, it is a kind of a decision, it is inborn in whatever the actions we are doing. But sustainable development word, which is used synonymously, we say sustainability and sustainable development. But please try to understand the difference, that when I say sustainability, when we focus on sustainability, most of the times we are just we think about maintenance of the resources of nature, maintenance of the ecology, ecosystems. And when we stress our points towards sustainable development, it means that we want to give more precedence, give more you can say importance to the economic aspect of sustainability, because ultimately we have stressed on the point of development, which we will discuss again. So how are basic needs, because how they are related to sustainability? If you know, if you have read somewhere that the definition of sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present. So in it, the needs word is there. So ultimately, whether it is well-being, because when the needs are fulfilled, it caters to the well-being of an individual. So ultimately, need is something for which we all are striving for. So basic human needs, sustaining that, satisfying that is one of the core areas of sustainable development, as it is being given in the definition itself. So if you look into the different reports that have come, different literature which has come on sustainable development, sustainability, sustainable growth, and the different facets of sustainable different domains, we see that it is somewhere or the other, directly or indirectly, it is related to the needs of an individual. It is actually meant. But in present times, if you see our basic needs, there's a clear cut linkage. If I say my basic need is food, then we have to see about the sustainability of our agricultural practices, the way we produce grains, the way we practice agriculture. Similarly, if the basic need is clean water, we have to think about cleaning our rivers. We have to see that how we'll be able to access water for the future generation, when today the rivers are drying and we are facing the consequences of climate change. Similarly, shelter. Similarly, you can say about energy. Similarly, about education. So these are the basic needs, and there are always question marks. In the wake up, when the soil is degraded, water is polluted, air is polluted, toxics, contaminants have entered into our food chains, there is a question that how we'll be able to meet our basic needs, how we will be able to sustain ourselves for the coming times, and also we will be able to meet our basic needs. So sustainable development, as I said, because it appears that it is the panacea of all the problems. And there are, as I said, multiple interpretations. People interpret sustainable development in various different ways. And also there are unexpected, you can say, what we believe, that expectations are lot more. We think that it is, as it is written here, that it is projected as a pathway, all good, all desirable is sustainable development. But however, we still do not know, many policymakers, planners are not aware that actually what is to be sustained. What is to be sustained? Human beings have to be sustained themselves, natural resources have to sustain themselves, the ecosystem services have to be sustained, or the development has to be sustained. So there is no clear cut understanding still between the various stakeholders of sustainability and different people, professionals who are working in this area. And today, sustainable development is the talk of the town. Everywhere, every organization, every meeting, every forum, we talk about sustainable agriculture, sustainable transport, sustainable different, you can say, livelihood, sustainable urban development. Everywhere we talk about sustainability. So it is something which is discussed at length, but still we are not sure that whatever we are indulged in today, that is neither development nor sustainable. So this is where we have lost ourselves. And there are different definitions and interpretations. However, we must understand that sustainability and sustainable development encompass mainly three basic needs, that safeguarding long-term ecological sustainability, and it refers to ecosystems, biodiversity, natural resources, how we are able to safeguard the ecological services. The Brundtland report actually, which gave the concept of sustainable development, it is a reference point for us whenever we talk about sustainable development. That report is the base, and in it, at several paragraphs, you can say, at several instances, the importance of the conservation of the species, the importance of the ecological cycles, it has been, mentioned. And it is said that uh, maintaining the ecological sustainability is important for dual reasons. Number one, the report says that because we need resources to survive. These plants, animals, and different microorganisms, they do not need human beings for their survival. We need them. So if you are not able to maintain the steady state of our ecosystems, their services will not be available to us, and therefore we will be in trouble. Another important point is moral justification of the conservation, because we share the planet with several millions of species outside. Another important is, according to sustainable development, another important, you can say, objective is satisfying basic needs. Sustainable development strives, or sustainability strives, to meet the basic needs. And according to um, the Brundtland report, education, medical, employment, these are also the basic needs, along with food, air, water, shelter, housing, clothes, etc. So there is a strong need to focus and divert all our energies towards meeting the needs of the people. And thirdly, to promote intergenerational and intragenerational equity between generations, within generations. It is very much essential, because we see a sparking difference between the people who are living in the developed countries and the developing countries, and even within a country or a region. The the fruits of development, you can say, are not shared equally. So therefore these type of issues arise. And in 2015, the sustainable development goals were given by UN. These goals are over ambitious, and they are meant to be achieved by 2030. And basically, SDGs are focusing on people, planet, and prosperity. People refers to the individuals, their health, their employment, their living. Planet is the resources of the nature, the protection of the different species, protection of the and maintaining the state of purity of water, soil, etc., and also along with that, prosperity. SDGs are to be followed by the developed as well as the developing countries, and a global partnership is very essential to meet sustainable development goals. There are 17 goals in all, with 169 targets. If we in detail go about these goals and the targets within, we will find that in all these goals, the importance of sustainability and linkages of one goal with another has been established. Therefore, it is not possible actually to focus on one goal and leave another, and it is also not possible to achieve these goals without international cooperation, without global cooperation, because we live in an interconnected, interrelated world. We are as strong as our weakest link. So if a certain section of the population is weak, is devoid of the basic human needs, then we cannot think of achieving the sustainable development goals. So it therefore requires participation from different stakeholders. And in view of this, sustainability society index indicators have been given, which focus on human, environmental, and economic well-being, as it is another term for what we were talking about. Human refers to people, environmental refers to planet, and economic well-being refers to prosperity. Because actually this stresses the importance of sustainable well-being. Because when you say that zero poverty or zero hunger is one of the sustainable development goals, so it is not possible, because in today's times what we are seeing is that the problem with lack of food or people going hungry is not because of insufficient production, but because it is because of the factors which are related to distribution, political, and so on. So it is understandable that we discuss more of sustainable well-being also. And therefore by 2030 we think that we will be able to achieve up to some extent certain goals, and the planet is in a better state as compared to the previous times. So these index which is given by sustainable society, European Union has given this index. It includes human well-being in terms of the health of the people, in terms of the employment, job, social needs of the people, how well they are united, and environmental, what all the resources, the different ecosystems, and also economic well-being, whether people are well placed or not. So accordingly, these are the different uh, parameters, you can say, the different examples of social well-being, environmental well-being, and economic well-being has been given. So for example, sufficient food, sufficient drink, sanitation, healthy life, clean air, water, education, gender equality, these are all socially important issues which are very vital if we want to move towards sustainability and sustainable development. Similarly, environmental well-being, in today's times we have seen that how important it is to have clean air, clean water, and safe living. Similarly, how we can achieve economic well-being, how we can rely more and more on the local practices, how we can invest more in the nature-based solutions which are also eco-friendly, and which also have a lot of potential for job creation and so on. So these are the different, you can say, types of well-being, different examples of well-being which have been given. So how do we achieve this? This is a question mark before us, because we know that basic human needs are very much required by people. We need to have those needs, and we keep on adding those needs. As I said, initially we required only uh, food, water, and place to live, but today we need much more. So needs, the number of needs, our aspirations for a convenient life, for a better life. And this also has been mentioned in the sustainable development report, London report, that basic human needs, when we were telling about that humans have a genuine need, to prosper, to move to a better standard of living. So how can we achieve this? This is something which we really need to focus on. So one of the important thing is that we should focus on the behavioral aspect is very important. Instead of pondering on the issues of climate change, overconsumption, dwindling natural resources, it is better that we focus our attention towards the behavior, the mode of purchase, the type of living, and focusing on solutions rather than projecting climate change as something a very grave problem, or projecting waste management as something which is really something which is going to kill our planet. We have to think about the solutions in the form of alternatives. How can we think of some alternatives, some better solutions against the problems of the environment which we are having? Similarly, flexibility in our approach of addressing the different issues of food security, access to water, how well we can design our cities, how well we can, stay connected, how we can improve our urban transportation. So we need a kind of a flexibility in our approach, and futuristic thinking, you can say. Think about the future instead of talking about the species which have endangered, or the type of climate which used to be earlier. we have to think about what is at present and how we can think of innovative solutions for the future. So taking notes from the history, taking examples from the history, but now the time has come that we look beyond what is today, and so that we have a vision that what could be the problems we might be facing in future and what solutions can be proposed. And along with this, taking small steps. So first beginning with individual, then family, then neighborhood, then the place of work, then the region, city, state, country, and so on. So it begins with the small steps of individuals. Now, this is something which we already know to some extent, but as the world has uh, begin the year 2020, we were not aware that what lies ahead. And with the COVID taking in, and with the new things coming up, new needs, you can say, new ways of living, how our needs have changed and what lessons have we taken up from the pandemic. So if again I go back to Maslow's thing, and now again I have to check again in the present times, during COVID, during lockdown, during pandemic times, does the Maslow's need of hierarchy of needs is relevant today also. So there has been a change in the basic needs of an individual. So immediate physiological needs, if you look at those times, there was stockpiling. We were most worried about the food, the groceries, and immediate physiological needs were, as it was earlier also, in various countries across the world, there has been hoarding, stock marketing, piling up of the different types of food items in homes. So because there was a fear that this could not be met if the lockdown persists for longer. So that need, that has manifested during the COVID times. The fear of, losing, the fear of not having something which we are used to, particularly related to our food, related to our place of living, and other accessories which are very much essential. Then again, there was a need for self protection, the growing need, to protect ourselves, whether it is following COVID appropriate behavior, using of more and more sanitizers, wearing of masks. So it was realized that basically human beings have a tendency to protect themselves. They want to be safe. First of all they need food to maintain their living. Then they need to be safety, as it was there in Maslow's hierarchy also. So they all methods, and again, not only this thing, different insurances, life insurance, health insurance, all these are the measures actually for self protection. Similarly, jobs and all. So people indulging in different ways to protect themselves physically also, and also for the long term. And also need for self-esteem, more and more during this periods of pandemics and lockdown. People looked more and more for online courses, for online, you can say, hobbies, different platforms, different activities which could be done virtually. People engaged themselves because a kind of a self-esteem need had arisen during those times. And also there were elevated changes in terms of need. And what are those elevated changes? That there was cognitive needs of the people. When all these needs are met, people wanted to know, research more on, you can say, health, immunity, what boosts immunity, how exercising is good, how yoga is done. So the quest of knowledge regarding some researched about the virus, some researched about the pandemics, some researched about the different ways to keep themselves healthy, some researched about also about the different the ways to indulge themselves. For example, different cooking sites were explored, online activities which could be done, people indulged in that. So there was but this was of course possible with those homes which were internet ready and which had all other needs being fulfilled. And then self-actualization needs. This era taught us many more things that we could never learn throughout our lives. So it taught us to be in the state of self-actualization, to be satisfied with what we have, and so on and these things. So, talking about the needs which we were talking earlier from the traditional conventional times, today we find that our needs have changed more and more as an individual, as a community, uh, as a society, as a country. Also, we can see that how our priorities, our needs, and our choices have changed post COVID, and because of this, the reasons where we were in lockdown, and because of the restricted movement, and because of the different types of restrictions which were put in place. So in other words, we can say we talked about sustainability at length, but COVID-19 has redefined the sustainability, and it is no denying that along with economic, environment, social, adding human health as the fourth pillar of sustainable development, if we can project, and if we can, you can say, if we can prioritize, that is no surprise. So human health has become one of the prime concern, and all the issues which are related to human health will take a precedence over other issues which are there. And adoption of adaptive management approaches, because most of the measures which were taken, they were actually kind of a preventive, but the need has come now to look for, to adapt according to changed circumstances. So with time, if there is a change in the environment, if there is a change in the way of living, lifestyles, energy, food, water, agriculture, there is a strong need for adaptive management. We have to adapt instead of focusing towards the, you can say, corrective actions. There's a more importance being given to adaptation in times of COVID. And also citizen empowerment and global solidarity is very important, because uh, the strategies which we have adopted to control the virus has been mostly totalitarian, command and control, imposing lockdowns, restricting movements, not allowing this, not allowing that, closing this. It is a kind of a totalitarian aspect. Rather, it should be more based on citizen empowerment and global solidarity. Every country, every region wanted to have zero cases, but we were not worried that if the infection is there somewhere outside the country, outside the city, then there are equal chances of getting the infection back. So global solidarity in this aspect is very much essential, and that is also one of the takeaway for sustainability, if we can say. So all our efforts towards maintaining the steady state of the ecosystem services will be in vain if we do not take into consideration the global efforts, because pollution, environmental degradation, loss of biodiversity, all these issues are not restricted by boundaries. They know no boundaries. They just travel from one place, one country, one continent to another. So kind of a, considering the globe as a whole and taking actions towards it is most important. And innovations, we have seen how innovatively we have uh, moved into the COVID era, and how we are adapting ourselves. So there's a need for innovations in this area, and this also gives us a message for sustainability efforts. So with this, I just conclude that basic human needs are food, water, and shelter. This has been long before, but with times there are primary and secondary human needs. So food, water, air, shelter, clothes, primary human needs. As a human being, we need them. But there are secondary human needs also, which are education, health, proper living, and also convenience in life, and so on. And needs and wants are interrelated. You cannot separate them. The need of one may be want of another, and they vary from region to region, person to person. And sustainability issues are complex. We have just in today's session, we have just talked about sustainability as an umbrella term, but they are very complex when it comes to different aspects of sustainability. whether it is the economic aspect or social aspect or the environmental aspect, they are very complex, and also they are influenced by the human intervention. And sustainable development is a very broad term, which which has lot of meanings for different stakeholders, for different people, for different professionals, and we have put unexpected, unlimited expectations from it. We think that all our problems are going to solve with sustainable development. And post COVID, the concerns of basic human needs have changed. The attitude of the people have changed. Our preferences have changed. Our goals and issues of sustainability are at the top nowadays. And further, they are going to change in the times to come also. So with this, I'm just ending here. If you have any queries, we can discuss